What's going on, everybody? Happy Super Euphoria Sunday. What's going on to all my Euphoria fans out there? We got an episode to talk about tonight. What an aftermath of Rue and everything she went through last week. And obviously, we'll break down that ending and what it can mean. Nate Jacobs. We had a whole week without him, but he came back and he came back with just so much we got to discuss. Maddie and Jules, and we get Alexi and Fez sharing some screen time, but I don't know if things are looking too good with Fez. We got so much to talk about. I'm so excited to be here with you all on this Super Bowl, Super Euphoria Sunday. Got some two guests I'm excited to talk about this episode with. But before we bring them in, do me a favor. If you're watching this live, because the Super Bowl is officially over, congratulations to the LA Rams. I'm here in St. Louis. So I know a lot of people here in St. Louis can care less because, the Rams left, but neither here nor there. Congratulations to them, but congratulations to us because we got a great episode tonight and such a great episode to break down. So before we dive into it, make sure you're liking the video, sharing it to all the Euphoria fans out there, and more importantly, leave your comments in the comments, the live chat. We'll try to address them if we can, but let us know how you're feeling about everything we're discussing tonight, the highs, the lows, the thoughts, the theories, and everything in between. So with all that being said, let me bring in my two special guests. This young lady has been on the channel numerous of times. Haven't seen her in a bit, but I'm excited to talk to her. I know Euphoria was kind of up and down for a little bit, but it seems like things are kind of picking up. I'm talking about the one and only Amanda. What's going on? How are we doing?
Hey, I'm good. Good to be back with you, E, as always.
So it's a pleasure.
This season I don't know, it's been rocky for me, but it's getting better.
Starting to pick up. I feel like the second half definitely has a little bit more of a path that is going on. The first half was, got some craziness going on, but hey, Rue's back. Nate's back, Maddie, everyone's back in this episode. And we'll talk about one character that I'm really excited to get you guys' thoughts on, Kat, and where they've been doing with her character. But Amanda, we're going to get into it tonight, but do me a favor, let the fine folks at home that are watching us live or on the replay, let them know who you are and where they can find you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys can always follow me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Over at the Suit Up Geeks channel and on Twitter, we did our live reactions of Multiverse of Madness tonight and Moon Knight and that Lord of the Rings trailer. So it was a busy day today. I have my Marry Me review out on my website as well, candidxcinema.com and Candid Cinema on YouTube. So it's been a very busy weekend. Today has just been a kick-ass Sunday, and I get to wrap it up here with Elliot. So it's awesome.
Man, I got to pick your brains. I'm going to watch this stream after this stream tonight. Just want to know, how are we feeling about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? And what else do we got? We got Lord of the Rings tonight, a little bit of Moon Knight. Which trailer caught you by surprise?
I was screaming during Multiverse of Madness because it was just absolutely wild.
Charles Xavier? Amanda, are we serious?
God.
Are we getting Charles back?
I was like, mutants? Oh my God, it was amazing. And then, I cried with Lord of the Rings. So it was a whole spectrum of emotions tonight. So,
yeah. Hey, Marvel, they're coming hard this this new phase. But hey, speaking of coming hard, we got Euphoria that came hard tonight with some great stuff, and we got another guest that I am so excited to bring on. This young lady here, I came across her channel a couple weeks ago when I was looking, getting my list together, everyone I would like to talk to about this show. And I came across her reactions, and she was just so charismatic, the charisma, the moments that the show, what I know I have, the reaction she gives, and so many great takes about this show. I'm so excited to have her on. I'm talking about the one and only Jay from Jay Meets World. What's going on? How we doing, Jay?
I'm good. I mean, I don't know, after that episode, there's a lot of feelings, but I'm good. I'm good.
A lot to discuss, Jay. I mean, again, we had our break. It was so smart for Sam to give us the, a break from Nate because he came back in this episode. I was like, oh, you guys forgot about me? I'm gonna go ahead and remind you why I'm so despicable. But Jay, again, I'm so excited to have you on. Why don't you let the fine folks know where your outlets are, what you do on your platforms, and all that fun stuff.
So you can find me at Jay Meets World, like Boy Meets World. On YouTube, I do reactions to movies and TV shows. Right now, it's mainly Euphoria, but I like to throw some movies in there. And then I love to talk to my viewers over on Twitter at Jay Meets World, but meets with 3 E's.
Love it, guys. Again, Amanda and Jay's, their links are in the description below. But Jay, before we get into, I know you say you were watching for your Super Bowl, but did you get a chance to see that Super Bowl halftime show? Mary J, Dre, M,
Look,
50.
look. I'm gonna watch later on
Okay,
YouTube. You know,
okay.
I'm catch the highlights, see what I want to see.
It was a great halftime performance. I'll just say that, especially for being a Dre fan and M and all them back on stage.
Yeah, I
But
have to watch it.
back on stage, Super Bowl, they delivered us a fantastic episode tonight. And before we dive into it, we got some people in the chat saying what's up to everybody. What's going on, everyone in chat again? Let us know what you thought about this episode because we got a lot to break down. But kicking into you, Amanda, because we haven't had you, I haven't spoken to you since episode 1. From then, how have you been? How has the experience been to you for Euphoria for you so far? And then just your general take on this episode.
So it's been really rocky for me. I've been doing reviews on my channel as well, and the writing isn't up to the level it was in season 1, and I've been struggling with it because there are characters that are so out of character in this season. It's really hard for me to connect with them on any level because I just feel like they wouldn't be doing certain things, and there's certain situations that they shouldn't be in whatsoever, and they would have handled it differently. For me, the main thing about even like Jules, Rue, and Elliot is like, let's just start with communication, Ben. Let's just sit down, share the feelings, talk about
They're
it. We wouldn't.
kids, Amanda. They don't know how to
Come
share. They don't
on,
know how to convey their feelings.
it's just watching. I guess because I'm older now, it's like the writing just needs to be better. Maybe let's throw some women in the writer's room. Let's figure this out and try to like work towards a better, like well-rounded characters that would, just be smart about certain things. And I know we love mess. I get it. I love mess. I love the drama. That's why I tune in every single week. But I feel like they're kind of losing why they started the show to begin with sometimes, and I feel like that messaging gets lost with the chaos of it all, and I feel like Rue gets lost a bit like leading up to that one massive episode. So it's getting better, as we said, but it's been rocky for me as a whole.
Well said. Well said, Jay. Same question for you. And what I always like to ask my first time guests is, who's the spirit animal for you in Euphoria? Who's that one character you'd be like, you know what? I might not do everything they do, but I have a little bit of, some of the characters. Who's that character that speaks to you the most? And then, of course, your thoughts on the season so far.
My spirit animal would have to be Fez.
Let's go.
I think Fezco is kind of my spirit animal. I think I'm pretty protective over my friends. That's my family. So if you mess with them, you mess with me. And I gotta do what I gotta do when it comes to them. But at the same time, I think he's very kind of like what we've seen with him and Rue. I don't know, like not enough is enough, but he likes to hold her accountable, I think. And even though I know a lot of people were saying, like in the first episode, how he was with her or putting her in a dangerous situation. I feel like it's more of like, I'm going to keep you with me because when you're not with me, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're into. So yeah, I just think I'm like Fez, very protective. Gonna stand by my friends and do what I got to do when it comes to them.
I love it.
Now, Jay, do you have the same Fez kind of like, yo, Rue, like, did you ever get in those modes where you just like chopped and screwed when you're talking to your friends? You just like super slow motion Fez
Well, see,
style?
I talk fast, so no, but I'm from Texas, so I'm all about the chopped and screwed. So when I need to, I can.
No doubt. And then as far as going into this episode, just your general impressions on how they kind of followed up from last week's Ruse breakdown, withdrawals, taking over the city and running wild to kind of slowing things down a little bit and catching up with some of the characters we haven't seen in a week or two.
As far as Rue, I mean, big change from last episode. I think they did a really good job of kind of explaining kind of but they always do that through Rue's perspective and her voiceovers, kind of where her mind was. Because I got in a lot of trouble on my channel. A lot of people said that I was judging Rue for her actions. But I think it was more so
held accountable.
I know, but I think so. It was more so of like frustration, which they do because it's very realistic. And as you see, like everyone around her is frustrated with her because they care about her. So they did a very good job. And Rue called me out at the beginning of the episode saying, people judge people for one moment of something that happens. And that's what I was doing. I was definitely judging her for that moment, not putting everything in perspective. So it was nice to hear kind of her thoughts and then kind of throwing everybody back into the mix this episode because they kind of blew up that bomb, last episode, just like in the middle. And they were like, just kidding, we're done with that. So it was cool it was nice again to see kind of everyone, because I feel like it doesn't feel so much like Euphoria when, even though it's Rue's perspective and it's essentially her show, it doesn't feel like, I felt like I was watching GTA. And I said this on my channel. I felt like I was watching like Dear White People or like Insecure, where they put the show within a show. I felt like I was watching that last episode with Rue, even though I loved it. It was by far my favorite episode of the season. But with everyone there, this episode again, it just feels more like Euphoria. I think it flows, better how they transition to each character.
Yeah. No, well said. I totally agree with you. And kind of on that note, let's, going back on what you were saying with Rue, we start off and kind of, I didn't watch the last week or the preview. No, I didn't know who was at the door, but it is Rue. She made it home safely, but I mean, the pain, the struggles, and Zendaya, I mean, come on, at this point, the Emmy's going to no one other than her at this point, back-to-back episodes. I mean, she's just been doing her thing. But Amanda, starting off with you as we open up this episode with her struggling to open up the rapper. We're seeing her mom, Leslie, who's been there thick and thin. Same with Gia, just sticking up for her, standing by her side as Rue talks about the vulnerability of going to a hospital, but people take care of you, not knowing your backstory, how mean you could be, how evil you can be. But yet her mom and Gia are constantly there, and they talk about the forgiveness and all that stuff. And I thought we want to get like a Leslie backstory for a little bit. We kind of understand.
I want it so bad.
Are we getting this? Got a little hint of that. But again, Amanda, your thoughts on this opening again? If Zendaya, I mean, at this point, the girl is just doing a damn thing.
She's absolutely killing it. Like this scene alone, just the physicality of it all and the way that she, she was struggling with that was just mind blowing to me. She's absolutely fantastic. I've been waiting for an episode where it's just the three of them. I want to see the family dynamic. I want to see them together. And like even in the previous episode, all three of them just put on a clinic. Like they were just phenomenal together, like delivering those very emotional lines. And in this case, I just wanted more of that. And even seeing, Coleman Domingo afterwards, obviously, like he's just a rock star, and I'll get into that after.
Oh, yeah.
But I just love those moments between the three of them. We need more of that. And you know what? We are robbed of a backstory because like they gave us that little taste, and like why wouldn't we get that? Right? Why isn't that one of the focus? Right? It's just to see like her mother and what she went through as well. So I think that just scratching the surface with the family dynamic is kind of like, give me more of that. Give me more of it. So hopefully next episode we dive into a little bit more, but I was happy with what we got right now.
Yeah, I mean, following it up, Jay, in regards to your thoughts on Leslie and Gia, and something I'm loving that Sam is doing is, Zendaya's fantastic, and seeing that we always get the point of view of the addict and what they're going through and their mindset. But we spend a little bit of time with Gia, and we'll talk about Ali here in a second, but Leslie, and kind of seeing how much it weighs on them, and even so much Gia, like she's a little, she's younger than Rue, and it seems like she doesn't get the attention that she probably deserves at that age. So your thoughts on this family dynamic, and again, this opening here with just seeing her struggling with this withdrawals and trying to create a new path.
Yeah, that opening scene broke my heart to see Rue really struggle like that, just trying to open, the candy wrapper, and see, though we've seen this before, it still shows, she's trying to, do better. But yeah, give Zendaya that evening now.
Yeah.
Like, just hand it to her.
Like I don't nominations, Zendaya.
Yeah, just hand it to her. But I would really be interested in Leslie's backstory. I freaked out when I thought we were about to get it. I was like, oh, here we go. But no. Because I think it has to do a lot with the way that she handles Rue. Because I don't know many Black parents who would put up with Rue. I'm just saying. Yeah. So I think it would be interesting to see how she was raised, or even if they just showed us more flashbacks of her with her father and how they were together as a family back then. Would explain a lot. And I loved how we kind of got into Gia's mind a little bit, because I think it's very justified for Gia to be frustrated. I think she has every right to be. So I would be interested into seeing I don't know, like not her. I don't want her and Rue to have it out, but I think they need to have a talk, and I think Rue should just sit there and listen.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys said it so perfectly. I would love to get not only Leslie but Gia, because even last year with her hanging
Yeah.
out with the twins and kind of doing her experimenting with drugs, like what's the follow up of that? Is she
Yeah.
experimenting with more drugs? Is she doing things that she shouldn't be, or is
Mm.
she looking at her big sister and be like, I don't want to go down that path. I'll just keep my head straight in the books, hang out with my friends, and kind of stay away from that. But yeah, I wonder if that's a route that we would take, and I don't know if it would take, as Leslie says at this episode, it's going to take Zendaya Rue not being in the picture anymore for us to focus on them. I don't know if it's going to
Yeah.
take that to get that focus on those characters. But yeah, knowing that she's from the church and she has that forgiveness, and she obviously carries that over to her youngest daughter. But this moment here, Amanda, he talked about him briefly. Let's get into him now. The more Coleman D'Amico, the better for me. I mean, what an
I
underrated,
love
fantastic actor,
him.
and he's like the secret sauce. When he just pops into the screen, he just
Literally.
pops. He's just like, I
Yeah.
want that Ali special. We know we got that with Rue
Mm.
and learned a little bit of his backstory. But Amanda, take it away here as thank you, Rue, for acknowledging how rude and how mean and bogus that comment she made to him a couple weeks ago. But she sucks up her pride and her ego, and she calls Ali, apologizes, and just off the bat, he forgives her because he's been there. He's been at that low point. But
Yeah.
Amanda, your thoughts on this call and Coleman D'Amico?
Yeah, like I just love the level of respect that they have for one another, and there's such clear understanding from Ali's perspective, and what he's gone through, as you said, and like it's just when they're together, they're like dynamite. Any scene that they have together, it's like they're both firecrackers and they feed off of each other so well. But I love that he stepped in here and he just it's like a paternal figure almost as well, even for Gia, like just to
Yeah.
have him around, and like you get that vibe in that dynamic when he does come in, and he kind of takes Gia aside and like kind of watches her a bit and talks to her and has that connection with her because like he does know the effects that this causes like all around, not only as from an addict's perspective. So he really just takes the time to talk to them about it and counter those ideas of like there has to be forgiveness, there has to be support, but Gia's like questioning that as well. So it's just really healthy for them to also have like an outsider in here that understands Rue and have those conversations, the tough ones.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, man. And also shout out to D showing some love to Jay in the chat tonight. But Jay, tossing it to you in regards to Ali. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the special that we got last year with him and Rue, just literally sitting down on the table, just giving the acting bar for bar, tit for
Yeah.
tat. I mean, what an incredible special episode. But your thoughts on him just, forgiving her and sticking there for her, and like Amanda said, almost kind of like a father figure. And of course, he's the sponsor, but it's almost like all of our characters have dad issues, whether their dad's passed away or in the case of Cal, with all that. So having that kind of character like Ali to kind of come in kind of brings a different light to Rue's life and an appreciation. What do you think about
Yeah.
Ali coming back into the scene here?
Ali doesn't miss. Like he just does not
Does
miss.
not.
The moment she called Ali, I knew he was gonna accept it. Ali is just someone. Honestly, anybody on the show could leave Rue's life, but just not Ali. Like Ali cannot leave. And I think, like Amanda said, he's been through this. He's done this, and like they said in the special episodes, he was like, "You think you've done the worst? Like this is what I've done. This is what I've done. I've been in rehab, however many times. Like this is not new to him. So I feel like him coming in as this kind of like I guess like a mediator almost in the sense of I don't know. I think he can almost kind of understand everyone's perspective, being that he has children. He still has children who are kind of, angry at him, as they have that right. But I think he just kind of plays great as this neutral person in it all because of the fact that he can't understand everybody's perspective in that. I love how he isolated Gia and was kind of like, this is our moment. And I feel like he almost, trying to figure out how to put this. I don't know, with Gia, it's like, I feel like she needs that push to let her know, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel this way. And I don't think it's intentional, but Leslie, like she's more focused on Rue because Rue is the one with the issues, right now. But Gia lost a parent as well. It's not just Rue. And though she didn't choose the drug route, people deal, and not that, I mean, I know Rue's drugs stem from a number of things, but Ali, I don't know. He's just there to give her that push. Like, say what you need to say. Holding it in is not going to make it better, because then now you have two issues with Gia and Rue. So yeah, it was just nice for, I don't know, because then at the same time, I was wondering about him and Mama. So I'm like, what's going on?
Jay,
I ship it.
Jay, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I don't know if they were alluding to it when they first met.
Yeah,
and
when
she was like,
he's cute.
He's cute, right? She gave him the looks like
right.
Rick, whoever Rick was in season 1, he's gone.
I don't need Rick.
Yeah, Rick, he was a little bit too of a square for me in that family. But I mean, Amanda, toss into you, kind of go into that conversation there. Is it a route? Is it a relationship that you would like to show to explore with Ali being in the home as a fatherly figure?
I mean, she was dressed to the 9 for this dinner, so I'm like, girl, I understand. It's
Hair
Coleman
was
too.
down.
Like, I get it. It's like, I understand. So, yeah, I think even if there is no like actual like romantic relationship between the two of them, I think him being around Rue and the family is something that will just like allow a different voice and a different perspective in handling all of this. And I do think that Gia also needs like another adult present while Rue's going through all of this, just so she can kind of lean on someone. Like her mother's doing like the best that she can, trying to balance everything. But I think that having another like voice of reason who's like Jay said, like validating her anger and just understanding her side of it. I think you just need another player in the game here to kind of like help everyone out.
Agreed. And someone mentioned Emmanuel here, says, what if Rue pushes Ali to take? I don't think that would happen. I think, like Jay said, that's if you guys have seen that special, he's been through it. Like Jay said, you think you're bad, I'm badder. You think you've seen this. I mean, the guy has seen it last. I don't think a 17-year-old would push him. I mean, never say never, but I think he has enough resilience to not go down that route, especially being influenced by Rue. But we never know what comes of that. But before we move on, Jay touched on it. Just wanted to get your thoughts on it before we talk about Mr. Nate Jacobs here. But Amanda, your thoughts on Gia? Again, we talked about her a little bit. We get a little bit more perspective of her. As Ali says, it's okay for you to be upset, right? Your thoughts on Gia and the progression of the character, and do you agree with the sentiments on it's okay to be mad at Rue's decisions?
Oh, definitely. I mean, she is the little sister. She's the younger child. There's a complex that comes with that on top of having someone who's suffering from addiction in your life. So it's a whole mixture of things that kind of pile up. I love Storm Reid so much. I think she has grown as an actress and she's just absolutely stunning. I kind of want an episode just focused on her. I think that would be super important to just see her perspective, or like even have her narrating her own episode just to get what's happening internally, like in her mind and like her process. Maybe like flip like, I don't know, maybe if they can do like a whole backstory on Gia, just watching Rue go through everything too and get that different perspective. But yeah, Storm Reid's a rock star and I'm just so excited to see more from her.
Well, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And Tony, we'll get to that. That money, we all rooting for Rue, but we ain't forget about Lori out there looking for her money and maybe want to use Rue for her body. We haven't forgot about it. I don't think the show's forgot about that either, Tony. But moving on here, let's just get into this gentleman here. Starting off with you. He's back on the scene. My man's happy, smiling. Oh, my dad, I beat my dad 18 years. I finally beat him. He's working now. He got 38 missed calls from Cassie and 0 from Maddie, who we'll talk about here in a second. But I want to kind of jump into this conversation with you all, starting with you, Jay. We really haven't seen Nate interact with his mom too much until this episode here. And I'm just curious on your thoughts. Number one, just, listen to my loving, smoking, cigarettes in the house, making Bloody Mary. She's letting loose. Kyle's out the house now, so she can kind of let her hair down and kind of get back to the young lady we met in, that flashback when she was a younger kid. But your thoughts, Jay, on this conversation? Were you there for it? Was it kind of like off-putting? Was Masha saying some stuff that was interesting to you? Your thoughts on this sequence between these two?
I try to watch the Jacobs family with an open mind, but it's hard. I don't know. I feel kind of like anything I watch with Nate, I'm just like, it's tainted. It's Nate. But I don't know. Marcia kind of confuses me a little bit. I feel like that conversation, she was kind of, judgy about I remember Nate's or Rue from okay, wait, a lot of things just came to me. Okay,
Hey,
so
let's
how
hear it.
Rue was saying first season, Nate couldn't stand his mom. And it was because she was weak.
She was submissive, yeah.
Yeah, she was weak.
Mhm.
But I don't get that vibe from her when I'm watching like their interactions, or even just seeing, and how, especially how with the backstory with Cal, she just didn't seem like the submissive one. I don't know if she became that way maybe later in life to appease, Cal.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't what I was, I guess, expecting from Marcia. But with us seeing how her backstory or whatever with Cal, how she was very judgy of Maddie, but I would see her as more of a Maddie than a Cassie. And how she was saying how she liked Maddie, or how she liked Cassie more than Maddie. As far as their whole conversation, I feel like there was a lot of, I don't know, there was a lot there. Talking about, I guess, Nate's anger and how he was just so defensive of it because it's true. He's mad, and it sucks because a lot of it is because of his upbringing.
Yeah.
And I think Marcia kind of did the same thing that Cal did. Not last episode, but the episode before, where he kind of goes off on everybody. It's like they kind of point the finger at their kids or at Nate, like, you're this, you're that, which is very true. But he's a product of his environment, and I'm no way, standing up for Nate. I can't stand it. I hate it.
I hear you,
But I don't know. It's just kind of weird because I even wanted to love the moment with Cal. I was like, this is kind of his coming out,
speaking his
and
truth.
I wanted to love it, but I hated it because
it's Cal.
Yeah, well, that, and he's like, yelling at his kid, like, you like porn, you do this, but I'm like, okay, you raised them, like, and I'm not saying a parent is responsible for every thing that their child does, especially when they're older, but they stem from a young age and they learn from a young age. And when Marcia was saying how you were such a sweet kid, and then at some point it changed. And I kind of tied that to the first season when Nate, we kind of saw his backstory, and he started like working out around like 8 or 9, which is kind of like, I guess, what she said. So I think the parents, and I guess, like, she said in therapy, Cal didn't believe in therapy, which is a big reason why they're just going in this cycle, in a circle, because no one's getting help. It almost, and it felt kind of like standstill. Like, I feel like things were said, but we didn't go anywhere, because you can't go anywhere in a family like that. Like, no one's going to actually say what they want to say. And that's why, Nate was saying things like, I feel like you want to say something, but you're not saying it. And I don't know if it's because she's scared or what, which I think is kind of all of them. That's why they act the way that they do, because there's some fear there of not being normal, I guess. But yeah, I feel like the conversation kind of went in this circle and went nowhere because you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, well said. And for all 60 people watching this live, make sure you give them a thumbs up. Amanda and Jay's links are in the bio. Definitely check them out. But a lot of good stuff you did say there, Jay. And I know for when you brought up Masha and her change in character, I think that's Sam tweaking the character just to give her a little bit more in the season 1 versus season 2. And also what you mentioned, her being a little bit more vocal, right? I think that goes into Cal not being in the house, and she can let loose and not have that fake facade of that good family that they want to portray to everyone. But toss it into you, Amanda. And Jay touched on a lot of good points, when she brings up what happened at Sweet, which I'm like, Nate, Sweet don't even seem real. But I mean, yes, he was a kid that wasn't affected by, like Jay said, when he was 9 years old, he started working out, but he also went into his dad's office and found what his dad does on his free time. And that completely derailed his relationship with his father and how he views women, how he treats women, how he has, sexual intercourse with women. It changed his life entirely. So that was that moment that I thought he was going to say, Mom, this is not making an excuse for him, because I don't like Nate either, but Mom, this is what happened at a young age, and this is why I carry that hatred. it. But your thoughts on the conversation and her talking about Maddie that night, and you did strangle her, dear. I appreciate you looking out for me, but you did get physical with her. It was just such an interesting conversation. Your thoughts on it, Amanda?
It's also bad writing. Just gonna put that out there. Like now that like you're saying certain things with the dialogue, it's just like, but what, like realistically, what is the purpose? Because Nate has been called out by both of his parents now. And this guy is just not going to change. We know he's not going to change considering what happens later in this episode. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like they had to write her in somehow. But I also do think that she was always strong and that she had to like stomach a lot from what Cal did, and I feel like she wasn't completely in the dark of this entire situation. And I do think, like Jay said, she's more like Maddie, and that's why she kind of just doesn't like her, doesn't want Nate to be with her. But it's more of like, again, communication, and Nate was, I feel, also neglected maybe by his father, and neglect does a lot of things to kids and how they grow and have that complex. And he just takes it upon himself to just be, tougher and meaner and more assertive and just take everything for himself, and which is terrible, and he has to learn. But the whole like mother Nate dynamic, Marsha Nate dynamic, I don't know. It was a very weird conversation, like Jay said. And I just wish the writing was better, and it's not done out of convenience of what he like wrote in the previous episode with these characters. Sorry, like 2 episodes ago, just to kind of connect everything. I just think that there needs to be a bit more flow, and it just feels disjointed sometimes with the dialogue.
Hey, well said. And before we move on to catching up with the rest of our cast, just briefly, your thoughts, Jay and Amanda, on number one, that third child that's been alluded to since season 1, and we saw it again. Is that like a hiccup, or is that a plot you all want to explore in the future? Starting with you, Jay. And the second part of that question, is Cal going to come back in this season? We learned that he's moved out. Are we expecting more Cal? But Jay, again, who's that third child? And again, will we see any more Cal this season?
I have no clue who this third child is. I know people are saying it's Ashtray. I don't know why it would. I don't know why it would be.
Yeah, because when we saw Fez episode 1, Ashtray was a baby. Like in that picture, that kid's like 3 to 4 years old. So I don't think it lines up timeline. But anyway,
I don't know. I just think it's like I just don't think they're invested in the third child.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a reason to show him. He's so he's not so young now, but we barely see the oldest one,
right?
So I don't understand why. Yeah, he was there for the blowout, and that was it. So I don't understand why we would see the younger one. I mean, I guess they could just have him like in the background, just like watching TV, but I guess it's not really necessary. As far as Cal coming back, I don't know. He had too much going on this season to just like
forget about him,
be done.
Yeah.
Like we saw him last season it would have made sense to just like not see him again. Maybe. But this season, it's just his story was too big. Like we had a whole episode towards
dedicated
him.
To him. Exactly.
Yeah. I honestly did I need it? No, but no.
And hey,
whatever.
Derek's still out there. We think Derek and Kyle hanging out now.
Yeah, let's bring in Patrick Dempsey.
You know what? I hope he does. I hope Derek and Kyle are living their best lives, and I hope he's getting therapy while he's doing that
at the same damn time.
You know,
I hear you.
Live your truth, but just get some help while you're doing it. Because
well said, Amanda. Your thoughts on this third child out there? Some people are alluding they might think that the kid had died. It might have been a mess up on the production side. That was a third in that picture. And then your thoughts on Mr. Cal Jacobs. Will he be coming back at all this season?
I low-key read that the third child was Elliot for some reason.
I was thinking that too for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think Marsha's the mom. Yeah, Marsha can't be the mom. Or Cal can't be the dad.
I'm just confused. I don't know. Anything could happen. Anything is possible on the show in Sam Levinson's head.
Right.
So I don't know.
It's becoming a soap opera. Duh.
I mean, Cal could just go find his third kid and pop back up just to stir some more BS into the plot. You don't know. It could happen that he could go find his third child, and that's how this ends, and it goes into the third season with a third. I don't know.
Maybe that was his favorite child, and he took him with him.
Maybe.
He's living somewhere else with a whole other family. We are writing season 3.
There you go.
Literally right now. But I don't know how to feel. I don't.
We'll see. And again, I don't know if Cal will be making an appearance this season, but because it seems like that tape, which we'll get into here, could be something to bring him back into the loop if someone made a copy of that, and particularly Maddie. But moving on to catching up with everyone else here, and this moment here, and I think this has been a big ripe for me in this season as far as like a character that I was like so invested in season one. And we talked about the rumors a couple weeks ago. I'm referring to Barbie and Sam Levinson having a little bit of a fallout behind the scenes because she wasn't too happy with where her character was going. And if it is to be true, I can totally understand why she's upset with that, because so far, Jay, as we cut to this scene, Maddie's calling Kat, and she's at the lunch date with Ethan, and this is the moment I've been waiting for, because I'm like, this end it, this end his misery, break up with him. You're not into him, don't prolong this. But the execution, Jay, is it just me, or has Kat just been kind of forgotten about this season, especially highlighted in this scene where it's just like, what? You have terminal brain disorder, and what are you doing, Kat? Who is this? Who is this right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Like with Kat, like literally, that's the only thing I can say is I don't know. I think it goes back to what Amanda said at the beginning, how some characters are just very out of character. And one is Kat. Like it just is not adding up. It's like if 2 + 2 is 4. And 4 + 2 is 6. What is this? Because none of it makes sense. If they had maybe shown us why, maybe I could understand. But it's like the last episode of season 1, and then we got to the first episode of this season, and she just like hates him, and it's like,
yep,
okay, well, what's the reason? And then Kat didn't. I don't know. And then I guess Kat doesn't seem like the type of person to me to make up these stupid lies to break up with someone. And
they can't.
And even the dinner scene with his parents was so out of character to me. I was like, I just don't understand it. I don't know what's happening.
It's
hard to even talk about it because I'm like, I don't know why. Like I don't know why Kat is. It's not Kat.
Yeah, no, Barbie is doing a great job. She's doing the best.
No, yeah, Barbie is doing amazing.
Her co-lead and Ethan's doing the best he can, but I think Sam Levinson's kind of giving them the short end of the stick. And I don't know if there's any validity to the whole beef behind scenes, because if it is, that makes no sense. Why would you cut one of the most interesting characters in regards to just her self-identity, something we can all relate to, whether we're a man or a woman? We can all relate to what Kat's going through at some point in her life, and just it is unfortunate. But man, I see you shaking your head. I think you're in agreement with us. Kat right now is just kind of a, to say the least, forgotten character.
Yeah, and it bothers me because she's the only plus size woman on this show, and her character is getting paid dust for whatever reasons behind the scenes, whatever it may be. But she was one of my favorite characters season 1.
Yeah.
And I said on the first episode that we did together for Euphoria, I said, like, she was my spirit animal besides other things that have. I'm gonna say it again, fam. I'm just saying, like, I related to her with going through an identity crisis and trying to figure out who you are. Like, that's really important stuff. And Barbie killed it. And you just like throw that away. And I feel like putting her in a relationship, you put her in a box. And then you can't really do anything with that if it's like a happy, like run-of-the-mill relationship. There's no problems, we're great, but like you only scratch the surface of what she's going through in her own mind, and like that's not enough for this character. You spend so much time with her in season 1, and then you have nothing here. And like honestly, sitting there watching her break up with him, I'm like, I literally don't care for these two, and that makes me so sad because I love her. But I think it's a little bit too late to even save her character this season. Like, there's nothing they can do at this point.
What was even her arc this season? Like, we don't even know. Of course, she's still going through Who I Am. When her Ethan's mom asked her, but that's more. You can give us more than that, Sam. Again, there is a third season. We got that announcement last week, and we'll see what comes of it. But it is very unfortunate the way they're mishandling this character. And like you all said, even if we could have gotten this season, checked in with Ethan and Kat every now and then. Like, what's the friction? We didn't get any of that. We're just making the plot up in her head. Like, she's just probably wants someone more adventurous, more spontaneous love, and he's not. He's great on paper, but doesn't mesh well in that relationship. But we don't get that because we haven't gotten any of that context. But
and they do flashbacks, so it's like at any moment.
Yep.
They could have thrown in a flashback, just
anything,
and they could have told us like what happened. But no.
No, we're just left to kind of make an imaginary story to see where all this conflict's come from. But Poor Kat. But Kat, we do get a character this season who Sydney Sweeney, next to Zendaya to me, has been given a
Yes.
performance of her career.
Yes.
My girl.
And starting with you, Amanda, we
Mm.
see her going through just the most in this last few episodes with throwing up in the number one, hiding in a tub season, episode 1, throwing up in a hot tub, and now she's in the tub is just the Maddie Tub saga continues in this episode as the knives are being put out. We'll talk about Lexi and her second doubts of the play, but Amanda, Sydney Sweeney, Cassie, she's addicted to Nate at this point, and it's ruining her life as we see it.
You know what? I adore Sydney Sweeney. That girl is my wife. I love her so much. She's doing a kick-ass job this season, and I'm so proud of her. With Cassie, I don't want to say that like everyone can relate to her on some degree. Like at some level, like you can kind of relate to her. I think she just shows the entire spectrum of being a teenager and how that one little thing can just ruin your life. And it may not even be like that major, but you think everything is the end of the world when you're a teenager. And I think that she really nails that, with Nate. I'm like, I still, after like 2 seasons, I don't understand the appeal of Nate Jacobs. I will never understand the appeal of Nate Jacobs. I don't get it. But she's obviously like in love with him, head over heels, and no one knows why, but I can relate to Cassie. We lose our minds sometimes. We overthink, we spiral. She's nailing all of that, Sydney.
Yeah.
And I still love her even though she's a mess. I think that's all I can say. I'm like, I'm gonna vouch for my girl because I love her. I know she's getting into some deep shit right now, but I still love her and what Sydney's doing. So
it's phenomenal, and it's so interesting. I mean, the whole Nate thing, even with Nate and Jules from season 1, we kind of understand how they, had that connection, just kind of sharing a lot of the same interests. But I don't know what Cassie sees in him besides, him being, a popular person in school. But she doesn't even seem that superficial to be like, oh, I want to date the most. She doesn't even seem like that type of person. I don't know what it is, but Jay, Sydney Sweeney, Cassie, her mom is just like, I just want an hour to just watch my show.
I love her mom. I love her mom.
Just laying, trying to chill, but Nate, or I should say, Cassie ain't having it. Your thoughts on Cassie, as we'll talk about her a little bit later, but in this moment, just full on breakdown.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney, amazing. But Cassie, that's a whole thing. I love Cassie, and I've said it from the beginning. Nate preyed on her. He literally came at her with claws. The moment she was sitting at the gas station, he was just towering over her. The first question he asked her is, "You're a relationship kind of girl, right?" What does that even mean? Why are we starting out a conversation like that? Am I supposed to actually answer it? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, he slut shamed her the whole first season. So it's why? And you know how bad of a boyfriend he was to your best friend. You've seen literal abuse.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think the only thing I could think of is the daddy issues. She just wants that love and that validation. And I guess it's I don't know if I'm jumping here, but the conversation Maddie had with the Minka Kelly's character, she got the, what was it, right love at the wrong time, or the right attention at the wrong time is what she said.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was literally that. That gas station scene just set it all up. And I think that's just what she needed in that moment.
Yep.
And I think she's just so blinded by that one moment that she just can't see past it.
Yeah.
And the fact that even when Lexi was, they were having that conversation and she was like, that's because I didn't know what kind of person he was then. She's like, you've known him his whole life. What does that even mean? That's why I feel like she's just taking that one moment and just taking it as far as she can. Because he's even shown he doesn't care really. He kind of, when he wants her and needs her, then he'll come, to her. Right. But, and I don't know. I still feel I don't know.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around
Yeah.
in regards to
Yeah.
the interest in Nate, but he, whatever it is, it's corrupted her mind. She is definitely been corrupted by Nate Jacobs, and it's I don't know who is going to take. We're going to talk about Fez here in a second, but it's going to take, as he says to Lexi, it's sometimes that you need to get hurt. Sometimes people need to get hurt in order for them to learn a lesson. I think it's just a matter of time that Cassie's going to get hurt, unfortunately, by Nate Jacobs, especially with the scene we're going to get into in a second. But speaking of Fez, man, we've been calling for it for weeks. Where's Fez and Lexi? Well, I know she's doing the play. Fez got his stuff with Faye and Ashtray and trying to keep everything the household safe. But they finally share some screen time, Amanda, as we see them on the couch. I knew I was a Fez fan, but I mean, after this means Stand By Me. I mean, the man has great taste in movies, and showing so much interest in Lexi as she's going to him for advice, talking about the play and how she views the play as, four girls or friends, young girls who are kind of growing apart. But before we get into the drama with Fez, which is just a matter of time for that mouse to come back and stick his ugly head into a situation. But your moment, or just a little happy moment with Fezzy, is that the name that they've kind of put together for them? Flexi? Is it Flexi? Am I saying
Flexi.
Yeah.
Flexi. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. They're so cute. I love them so much. Like I said in the first episode, they just understand each other differently. And I think Fez just needs someone to listen to, like, to hear him out and just understand him and not talk about, drugs and like that life of his. He just wants to talk about other stuff, like Stand By Me, like a good film and cinephile that he is. So you feel that connection. I think they have bomb chemistry, and it's like it's effortless. And I love that kind of connection, considering what happens afterwards and how Fez's life is. But I just really think that there's always good parts, and then something's gonna the other shoe's gonna drop, and I'm worried to see what that's gonna be.
Before we get to that worry of some Amanda, Jay, your thoughts on Lexi and Fez and this chemistry they share and this relationship. Is it something you want to see? I mean, we know what his lifestyle comes with, and we know Lexi, sweet innocent girl. Do we really want to see that happen?
I do. I don't care. No. I do. But I don't know. The first time I saw them, I was so wrapped up in it because I would have never put them together ever. And I feel like normally, especially on like teen shows, you can always be like, oh, they're about to go this way, or they're gonna put these people together. I never guessed. And then when I saw them together at the party, I was like, hello, like I need this. I want this. But I do understand like the dangerous aspect of it with Fez and the line of work that he's in. But I don't know. I'm like, we've seen Fez is smart. So maybe Lexi could be that person and kind of like, let him know like this, there's other things you can do with this. You have brains. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes Lexi's in her own head and she doesn't get that recognition and attention she deserves. And Fez, is that I feel like he's always that friend who's hyping his friends up, and he shows that with Lexi and can boost her self-esteem. So I feel like they both help each other. Yeah. But I love them. I want them to get married and
listen,
have children.
Jay,
down the line, not now, but
happy ever after would sound great, but I got bad news for you, Jay. We got my man's back with Faye. He's cooperating with the police, and tossing to you, Amanda. How do you see this shaking out? I mean, we all know that Ashtray was the one that, I don't know what they did with the body, number one, as far as Mouse goes. And we know Ashtray was the one that actually killed him. Will Fez take the fall for his young, brother, and they're going to end up breaking up and Fez is going to go to jail? Or are they going to figure out some Dexter situation and get out of this Ozark situation and figure a way out of it? What do you see this shaking out with this whole Mouse baby mama police in the way now?
I mean, what you said first off is that like Fez is going to take the fall for Ashtray. That makes complete sense considering the first episode and how much Ashtray means to him and the whole thing of like familia in this case. So I think that makes complete sense. On the other hand, I would love to see Ashtray just go off, to be perfectly honest, and just mess some people up, because I feel like he has it inside. He's like, this guy has like all of these other people coming after us, and like I feel like he just go off, and Fez can, I don't know, just sit back or run away with Lexi and see what happens that way.
Hey, we all know from last week the cops are terrible out there. They couldn't catch Rue,
so
so maybe Fez can get away from the cops if
Yeah.
they have to be a runaway bride with
You
Lexi.
never know. You never know.
Mhm.
Jay, your thoughts on how you think this is going to shake up with the mouse situation? Is it going to be something for season 3, or end of season this season, cops knocking on the door of Fez, and we live on that? Like, what's going to happen to Fez?
I don't know. I feel like it could drag on to season 3 just because we're kind of at the end now, and
Right.
there's
2
still
episodes
no
left.
resolution to it.
Yeah.
I thought in that moment it was just way too happy, and with the song playing, and they were just sitting there on the couch. I thought someone was gonna bust in at that moment and just like start spraying or something. Like I was terrified. So I still think, I don't know, maybe there was some foreshadowing there. Like maybe we get another moment when, and I don't, and as much as I want Fez and Lexi, I didn't like that she was at his house.
Yeah, let's go to a Starbucks or maybe to a
or we
more
went to
safer
Lexi's
place.
even. But like, I don't trust Fez's house. Too many things go down there. We've seen people not busting, but I guess says he doesn't work there anymore. Like he doesn't deal
move. I think
out
he
of the
moved all his
house.
stuff at the
that's
convenience store.
okay,
Yeah.
I guess. But I still feel like people know where he lives. But yeah, I just think this will probably play out till season, maybe the beginning, or maybe it happens at the end and then we're dealing with the aftermath.
Left with it,
the first like episode or something.
That
But
makes
I
sense,
just know
yeah.
something bad's gonna happen. And I'm not
It
prepared.
is. It really is. It's unfortunate,
Yeah.
especially with we getting so much from Fez this season, and we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. But now, time to get to Nate Jacobs and Maddie. Starting with you, Jay. We see Nate. He has interest in his family business. He might take over his dad's construction. I don't care, right? I work at a gas station for all I care, Nate. But he's thinking about doing that. You see the note in the drawer, like you're the man in the house now, and he leaves him the gun of the house. I'm like, that's just a terrible recipe for disaster. In a brief bit of levity before we get to this dark scene, where we cut to Jules and Elliot and check in on them, and Rue's like, nah, I'm not happy with them right now. So they skip over that, but we see everything with Nate, and Maddie's depressed, and before we get to Maddie and Nate, we do have a moment with Maddie talking to her future self, Samantha, who's spying on her in the camera. And what's up with that? Jay, your thoughts on that whole conversation between maybe a future Maddie talking to her younger self?
I think I thought it was interesting though that she put on the dress too, that she had on the first episode when she asked Maddie to unzip it. So I was like, I guess we are alluding to like this could be your life type situation, like your future.
Right.
But I don't know. I still don't know what to make of their relationship, because it seemed kind of sexual at first.
I said that when I first saw
him.
Right.
I would have been here for if she wasn't a minor.
Right.
Would have loved that. Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't really sure where we were going with that. But I don't know. I really don't know what to make of that scene, because I feel like it was pretty straightforward. Like I don't know. I don't know if she was just there as kind of like another ear or kind of like a conscience for Maddie to kind of, I don't know, accept an apology. I don't even see Cassie apologizing for this, but she's too far gone at this point. But
by the way, Jay and Amanda, were we shortchanged by not seeing the scene from last week with Maddie chasing Cassie upstairs? I assume she just got away. She didn't. She's not dead. We know Cassie isn't dead. We don't know what happened after that.
Even that scene was a little too like not downplayed, because it was in the midst of everything.
All the roof
but
stuff,
like I don't know, like it wasn't enough swinging for me. Like just swing. Like you're in each other's faces. Like why are we just talking and then like slowly running up the stairs? Like I don't know, but
we were robbed of that scene.
Yeah, we
did it out in one piece.
Honestly, I said it in my review. I'm like, that placement was just so like wrong of them to put it there, just because they made the whole Maddie Cassie rivalry to be like the most interesting part of the show.
Yeah.
And then you just throw it away like that, and you don't even give us that matchup, which we were dying to see. Like, how do you, like, I don't know. That's
It was
just a poor
huge. Like
choice. Yeah,
it was like the main, almost like the main plot. And I feel
Yeah.
like we deserved a whole episode. I think catered
exactly.
to just that. Like this
Yeah.
episode, honestly, they could have given us like the beginning scene, and then the rest of it could have just been like Cassie and Maddie.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the conversation between Nate and his mom. Maybe you cut that scene and get more.
Yeah, because like I said, there was no point. We got nowhere with it. So what was the point of it? But yeah,
I hear you.
I don't know.
Amanda, your thoughts on, I guess, young Maddie talking to future Maddie, and is like Jay said, is it just a matter of perspective, like hearing this from someone else, an adult, that kind of a lifestyle that Maddie would want to live one day, or is, and again, do you feel like this is a relationship that could get more than just an adult talking to a kid? Because again, I don't know what the camera, she knows that she's trying on her clothes, and I don't know, it's just a weird relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with Jay that like that you know, it's like what Maddie can see herself as. Like, I completely understand that. I've also felt like this weird sexual tension between them. And the fact that she's also a minor, it's like, let's have a bottle of wine. It's like, girl, like, what are you opening wine for? Like, what are you doing? You know she's underage.
Susie let her kids drink. Masha lets Nate drink. I guess it's just the thing.
Just having sex in the house, loud.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and they're listening and just reminiscing. I'm like, no, that's just
try to hide it at least.
Don't do that. But yeah, I don't know. There could be more. Like maybe Minka Kelly takes her under her wing, but I guess that it's like it'd be interesting. I don't know. But again, Maddie needs someone to relate to, and she looks up to her. And I think that her advice would mean so much more to Maddie than like going to her mom or going to another friend of hers. So I think that's the dynamic here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we'll get any more of those too. But it's time to get to the moment of the week, and I think highs and lows, whatever may be in this episode, I think this moment here between the tension that Sam created with Nate with that gun, to me, it was some of the one of the most tense felt moments I've felt in a long time, especially with this show. And Jay, your thoughts on however you want to spin it, just how you felt in the scene. Did you think at any point in time that he was going to shoot Maddie himself for that tape? And just the whole scene was just, in my eyes, was just perfect.
Yeah, it was terrifying. I don't put anything past Nate at this point. And the way that the writing's been going this season, and just the feeling of like someone's gonna die, I thought it could have been Maddie at any moment. I don't get Nate. Like, I just don't get Nate. I don't get what goes on in his head. He, claims he loves Maddie and all these things, but at the same time, it's like, like he hates her? I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what we're doing, but I don't know. I guess with all the anger and I don't even know if like him getting the tape was to protect himself and his dad, or if it was like like, I don't know. It was just it's very confusing sometimes, just because I think there's so many things being thrown at you about these characters. So it's like, do I relate it to this or do I relate it to that? Like, what side, where do I pull from here? And but that scene the acting was amazing. Alexa Dimmy and Jacob Elordi are ridiculous.
Yep.
And I felt so bad for Maddie in that moment. Like, I think Maddie genuinely loves this man. Like, I really do. I don't think Cassie really loves him. I think she's really infatuated.
She hasn't seen that dark side of Nate.
And she just wants.
Yeah.
And the fact that Maddie has seen, this dark side even before the gun, with him choking her, things like that, and the fact that she still cares for him, and still that can be a trauma bond, but just I don't know. It was hard to watch, honestly.
Very hard. Very.
Because you already broke this girl's heart, and she already kind of lost, these two people that I think she thought she would always have, with Nate and Cassie, and now they both betrayed her. And then you come to her with a gun. Like, I don't know. It just makes me like shiver thinking about it. And just the way it was done.
And the music
and how he went from her head. How he went from her head to his. From her head to his. And then he's like, there's no bullets. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What goes through your head?
Who knows, Jay? I mean, well said there. And Amanda, just your thoughts again. it's who knows what goes on in the head of Nate Jacobs, right? Because again, him and Jules, and we'll talk about, they haven't spoken all season. So it's just like, I thought, why now? Nate, was it the conversation with your mom? Did she spark this newfound, like, maybe I should do something? I don't know. But I do know this scene was incredible. It was dark. It was twisted. It was scary. It was phenomenal in every sense of the word. And quickly, before we get your thoughts, I don't know if I don't know if you guys see the smile you're on camera. Well, Maddie, was she recording this and maybe turn Nate in on this physical abuse that he's been showing to her?
You never know. Honestly, that's a fair point, actually. What I found interesting, since we were talking about the trauma bond and everything that happened beforehand with, just the physical aspect of like Nate choking her, she still went back to him after he did that. And then in this scene, when he goes to kind of like console her after like literally traumatizing her even more, this time she was actually scared and she literally said, "Don't touch me." And I felt like that was like such a gigantic shift from what we saw in season 1, because she was like hiding it from everyone. She didn't want anyone to know it was Nate. She still like snuck around with him afterwards. So I think that this was the breaking point for Maddie. And again, Alexa Demie was phenomenal in this scene. So good. But Nathaniel just needs to cease and desist. I think he needs to just relax. I can't handle that. Like you guys have said, the framing in this scene alone, the use of the mirrors showing that like there's like double like of Nate Jacobs. There's one side of him, just showing that, the broken pieces of Nate Jacobs through the mirror as well. And I just think that when the writing is this good between characters, that's where I love the show, because this was like incredibly well done and executed. So it frustrates me because I want the writing to stay there throughout the entire episode for these characters, the entire season. So like, it's a love-hate relationship right now.
Again, I think this scene was just so well put together. The execution was phenomenal, and it is very interesting. I think, again, going back to what Fez said to Lexi, sometimes people do need to get hurt. And not that I would ever want someone to feel what Maddie felt in this scene, but maybe this is that moment that you all referring to that snaps her out of like, I am done with Nate Jacobs. Like, this is, first of all, he is Batman, I guess. He can just break into people's houses. I don't know how he got into that house. It's like an apartment. I don't know how he got in there, number one. So there's that aspect of it all. But I hope this is the moment that she realized that I can no longer be with this man. And I hope that, even though I know she hates Cassie right now, sister to sister, she needs to help her get out of that situation as well. And we'll see what comes of it. But again, that performance, that moment was just terrifying in every sense of the word. But we're on the roller coaster here. So he does that despicable thing. And then he follows that up with this, Jay. He goes and out of the blue calls Jules and has a tape that he wants, that she didn't know existed. Obviously, we knew that as an audience, but she finds out about the tape. Why are you giving me the tape, Nate? I'd rather not say. And then the thing that scared me, Jay and Amanda, they say there, I meant everything. And then she says back to him, I did as well. That scares me. Jules, please just stay as far away from Nate as possible. But Jay, your thoughts on, again, this roller coaster and Nate? He does that thing with Maddie. Now he's a good guy. It's very conflicting.
I just hope there's a journey that we're going on, because I mean, I guess it could make like this would all make sense if in the end we actually went somewhere. But if we don't get anywhere with Nate, this is just going to be all for nothing. So what's the point of, like you said, this roller coaster? A part of me, I mean, I was obviously really happy that Jules now has that tape. Because one of my biggest fears was that Maddie would release the tape and in turn hurt Jules, Yeah. So I was hoping that wouldn't happen. So I'm glad she has the tape. But I don't know what was I don't know if he's trying to reckon, but in a tone, but it's like, you just held a gun.
Just put it,
Yeah. So it's like, you didn't really atone for it. And then he's like, you don't know what I had to do to get this. And it's like, so am I supposed to like be happy? Like, I don't know. And the whole thing, with Jules saying it back, like I did too, it caught me off guard, because I'm like, it's Nate. it's Nate
Yeah, like
Jacobs.
I would
Everyone
not have
knows.
one word for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like,
Yeah.
well, I came with the box cutter. Ha ha ha. Like, it's not
Oh,
a
weird.
jokey moment. Like, take the CD, get out. What are we doing? And I feel like
Exactly.
Jules too has kind of been one of the characters for me that's kind of out of character at
Yeah,
times.
just kind of floating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I think
no.
the only two characters to me who have just like stuck, I
Mhm.
think would be Nate and Maddie. I think have
Yeah.
really kind of just followed Rue
Hmm.
too. But really Nate and Maddie to me have just been the only two characters I think were written how they've always been written.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
stayed true to the characters. That's well said, Jay. Really good observation. I totally agree with you because yeah, Jules to me this season, whether it be the whole Elliot three-way thing and her not addressing her feelings that she still has for Nate slash Tyler.
Yeah.
So it's been very confusing. And then that scene was just confusing too because just like why even have say
Yeah.
thank you? I mean, yes, thank you for the tape, but just like to continue the
No,
conversation,
someone
just
was
kind
with
of
it.
yeah, right. And who knows? Again, Nate
Yeah.
Jacobs, who knows? He could have another copy of the tape just for backup purposes. You never know with this guy. But
Yeah.
Amanda, your thoughts? And again, this roller coaster and Nate, the despicable thing with Maddie, and then transition to this good thing with Jules.
Personally, I do not care about Jules at all. I've never cared for her character. She just frustrates me so much. And now that the way she's written this season, I cannot deal with her. So like, yeah, it's good that she has the tape. Like, that's fine that Nate did that. For me, what's been like messing up my head is that I actually heard that allegedly
There we
that
go. There we go.
that Hunter Schafer and Jacob
Oh
Ellerty
yeah,
do
I read
not
that.
get along.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Mm,
Cassie's entire journey was supposed to be Jules and Nate and not Cassie and Nate. So
okay.
maybe that's why everyone's out of character because they had to kind of adjust. And I don't know, like,
Interesting.
so knowing that and seeing this scene, and I'm like, okay, but they were okay to film that scene together. So I'm very, again, like, it's all confusing. Like Jay said, like,
Mm,
I'm very confused about everyone's journey. And like she said, like, it's only Maddie and Nate that have remained consistent, which is surprising. So it's
Mhm.
like, does Sam Levinson know what he wants to do with these characters? Like, I don't know. Like, we just need more writers. Let's bring in women, please, in that writer's room. We need it, please.
Yes.
I can't remember. I
Agree.
think it was last week or the week after that. I think it was kind of a unfortunate situation, obviously, for the entire world with the pandemic. But this show in particular, we know that they were days away from shooting season 2, and Sam had 18 months to rewrite a season 2 due to the time that he had on his hands. We
Yeah.
got the 2 specials, and I think, like you all just said, not only the drama is there more drama behind the scenes, but I think a lot of the rewrites kind of are showing or rearing its ugly head, and that, I mean. You bringing it up, Amanda, that would have been such an interesting route to take with Jules and Nate versus the Cassie thing. Again, we get to see the
Yeah.
glory of Sydney Sweeney, but that would have been really fascinating. I don't know if they'll
Right.
go back to it season 3
Maybe.
based on that, how this conversation ended with them thanking each other and saying, I still have feelings. That everything I said about you was true.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a season 3 plot. We'll
Maybe.
see because Elliot's still there. She's in
I
love
feel
with him
like
now.
yeah, and I feel like Jules is out of characterization. I just made up a word. Jules being so out of character,
Yeah.
I think also stems from her special. Because I was one of those people who didn't really care for Jules the first season, but her special actually made me really like her and made me
100%.
understand her more.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
then we go into season 2, and it was like I just feel like nothing matched with that special at all.
I
Exactly.
agree.
And I'm like, what? It just, ugh. And I was kind of mad I watched it because I wasn't going to watch it. And a
Yeah.
lot of people, because I started reacting to the Euphoria trailer, and someone was like, you have to watch the special. So I watched it.
Mhm.
And my friends were actually telling me not to watch it because they were like, you don't need to, whatever. Watch the special, get to the season. I'm like, I shouldn't have watched it. Ruse, yes, but
The special has some. So the Jules, to me, it gave her the context of why she doesn't want to be with someone that's an addict because we learned that her
yeah.
mom was an addict, and then I guess it also highlighted that the night of the Halloween parties when she overheard her mom and she left her, and that's why she was drinking so much because she gets triggered when she's around her mom. But yeah, it's almost kind of backwards on the character. Amanda, do you have something to say about Miss Jules there?
Yeah, well, for that special, Hunter Schafer had input
Right.
on that
Yeah,
entire thing. So
co-writer.
see,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's the difference. So like, I even like I think Zendaya, she's a producer on the show,
Oh yeah,
I believe,
yeah,
and she has
yeah.
her input on Rue. So I think that maybe Sam Levinson just needs a little helping hand to readjust his
Yeah.
You're
characters.
not allowing him. I mean, he is
Like,
he directs every episode, writes every episode, produces it. I mean, he has so much. I mean, this is his baby, but I think
yeah.
sometimes it can almost
That's like,
over
never
too
mind.
much work. Jay,
Yeah.
I want to
It
hear it. I
reminded
want
me
to
of
hear it.
Tyler Perry, and that's a whole nother
Oh,
thing. So
yeah, that's a good comparison. I can't. Yeah, we'll see next season. Sam Levinson dressed up as his own version of Medea
yeah.
and coming in and wrecking shop. But yeah, he has a lot on his plate, and I think it's so true, man. I think sometimes you might need to devy out some other,
Yeah.
bring in
Yeah.
some other women, other perspectives. And again, we know the story stems from his personal experience, which this is his truth on screen. But sometimes, you're 2-3 seasons into a show, you need to maybe have some other
Mhm.
input on some of these characters that we all love and come to adore. But
Mhm.
wrapping up the episode here as we end with just kind of leaving on this kind of a high note in a certain extent. And of course, we see Cassie running off into the arms of Nate, which just, this is a story about mothers. And Susie let her daughter walk out. Maybe she wants her daughter to learn the hard way. We see, Masha just saying, hi, this good luck with my son. Maybe it's just, again, learn on your own, grow up in a harsh way, tough love sometimes. But Amanda, we kind of end on a high note, the family dinner, people smiling, happy. Gia, it is okay to be upset with your sister, Gia. And, Ali saying, hey, show that girl some love. She's been neglected her whole life, which is almost kind of parallel to how Lexi and Cassie, their relationship with her, Susie's focusing so much on Cassie and Lexi being neglected. So we end kind of on a high note. We think things are going to be good for Rue, but we find out that this whole rehab journey is, she's not going to be able to go to rehab anytime soon. As Leslie, Nika King in this moment, I think my daughter's going to take her own life. The way she said that with just so much fear and just afraid for her daughter's life. Amanda, your thoughts on this ending and what do we think will happen now?
Yeah, well, starting off with Cassie, she does have to learn the hard way, I think, and her mom's done with her. Like, she just wanted to watch her show, and she was being a pain in the butt the entire time. She's like, you know what? Fine, go. I don't care. I get to watch my stuff in
Get
peace.
out.
So just get out of here. But it also stems from what Minka Kelly said to Maddie. It's like, you're 19, you can, or like you're whatever, like you're 18, you're young. It's time to make these mistakes now, type of thing. So let them roam free and let them do what they need to do. Cassie can run off with Nate. Again, I still find their relationship just so interesting to watch in comparison to how he was with Maddie. It's just very interesting. I'm not justifying it. Like, I cannot stand Nathaniel whatsoever, but it's just the fact that, like, there is a connection there and it's odd. And I don't want them together because I know he's going to hurt Cassie, but it's just really just an interesting dynamic in that case. I love that family dinner scene. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to show that, especially for Rue's journey. And, like, God bless Coleman Domingo for just being like a superstar in every sense of it. And maybe it will shift focus where, like, Gia is going to have to tackle a lot of things on her own and maybe come into her own and grow up a bit more. With Rue being at home and not being able to go to rehab. That scene absolutely broke me. Even the camera just like pulling back, going through the rooms, going through the hallway as like Rue and Gia are sleeping, and moms have to deal with things that mothers have to deal with, unfortunately, in this case. So it's heartbreaking. And we're just going to see Rue go through a lot. And I think Gia's going to mature a bit more.
Yeah, I hope so. And as you said, Amanda, I hope Coleman, not Coleman D'Amico, but Ali, if he can make a tour to Lexi's, in the Howard's house, that would be great. Kind of fix that house up because he seems to cook them a meal.
You should get
Go to
paid.
Fizz house, cook him a
Get
meal, get him
paid.
on straight. Manny, go to, we need Ali to go to each one of these kids'
Yeah.
house, straighten them out. Jay, your thoughts on these final sequences again with Cass running back into the arms of this devil of a man, of Nate Jacobs, and then this family dinner, which I don't know. This might be the final dinner, final supper type of symbolized there, and how we end things with the two sisters in bed, peaceful, but there's maybe a storm on its way.
Yeah. I feel like Cassie was kind of inevitable
Yeah.
At this point, you can't tell her anything, no matter. And you see, like, she was just kind of like freaking out on her own. No one's even saying anything to her.
Mhm.
And she's screaming about, why are you looking at me like this? You think about me this way. So it's like, at this point, you can't tell her anything. And I think her mom knew. She couldn't stop her.
Mhm.
And at this point, it's like, well, you're going to go do what you want to do. So you go do that. And like you said, learn the hard way and then come back. Because it's not going to be it's not going to be this fantasy, life that she thinks it's going to be. And I think Marsha knew too. I think it was interesting to kind of see Marsha kind of like waving at her, because I feel like we're about to just see Cal and Marsha again. Like it's a cycle.
20 years later. Yeah.
We're just doing the same cycle again. Then with who was after that? It was Cassie scene, and then
we have
the dinner.
The family dinner. Yep.
The dinner scene. You said the Last Supper. I feel like that's what it felt like. Honestly, like we don't get nice things in Euphoria. So to see them so happy, and there was a little moment with Gia, but I don't know. It was normal, for Rue. So I just feel like something bad is coming, and
Lori is coming. That's who's
and then to hear Leslie on the phone at the end, to know that Rue's not going to get in the program that she wants her in, and it's going to be hard, especially for someone in as deep of addiction as Rue is. You really need that inpatient program, and to know she's not going to have that. And I think, like what Amanda said, Gia's going to we're going to see Gia mature, because I think she's going to start kind of facing her feelings towards Rue as well. I think for a long time, she really looked up to Rue. And I don't think that she thought that her anger was justified. And I think she was really trying to empathize with Rue and see that Rue was hurting. But I think now that she's older, she's going to start to, I don't know, get in touch with those feelings.
Yeah.
And if Ali sticks around, I think Ali may continue to push that and tell her, feel those things, have those emotions. So it was a rough ending.
It was.
I literally just kind of sat there in silence for a minute.
And
it was weird, because I had been watching a lot of Soft White Underbelly interviews on YouTube. Yeah, he does a lot of interviews like on Skid Row with addicts and homeless people and things like that. And there were a lot of stories of people who were like, well, I didn't get into this program, so I'm back on the street. And I'm like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
It really does. And I mean, just wrapping up with you guys' final thoughts on, because I don't watch the trailers for what's coming up next. I would assume that the play's coming up, which I'm really excited for. But Amanda, starting off with you, again, we still got Lori, the drug dealer that wants to sell her Rue's body to make up for that money. We talked about Fez and the cops, out there. What do you hope to see in next week's second to last episode, which is crazy to say, but what do you hope to see next week?
I did see clips for next week, so I really want to see that play.
Coming.
I think stuff is gonna hit the fan when that happens, and I think that's gonna be like it's just gonna be the final, like to break the camel's back. Like it's the final straw. Like in that case, I can't talk right now. I've been like all over the way, clearly.
I know what you're saying.
I think thank you.
We got you.
That's the thing that's gonna happen. And I feel like something's gonna happen, Alexi. Or I feel like they're all gonna go into the bathroom again and kind of yell at each other. I would love to see that. All the girls go into the bathroom.
Yeah, I'd be good with that.
You know what I mean? In private, kind of, and just let each other have it. Because again, communication, which is something that,
right?
As something that needs. Don't write a play about it. Just talk to your sister. Thanks. So it'd be great. But communication. That's what I want to see next episode.
I hear you. Any thoughts on Lori? Is she still the prowler on Rue? Is she gonna get that money any means necessary?
I feel like that's gonna be a last episode cliffhanger to season 3. I think she's not gonna be done with her in this season, because we haven't seen her in this episode. If we saw her in this episode, it's already setting Fez up with that whole situation. So I think that is going to be a finale level event in that case to carry out to season 3.
You can't trust someone that's never got angry. All right. Yeah. So, and that's Lori. But Jay, your thoughts too on what you hope to see in next week's second to last episode of Euphoria, episode 7.
Yeah, I'm with Amanda. I want to see this play. And I think I want to see it too because I want to see the aftermath and the last. I don't want it to leave on a cliffhanger. I
Yes.
want I want to just air it out and then let's deal
Mhm.
with it. But I don't
Mhm.
know because now I feel like also Lexi may be having second thoughts with everything that just kind of went down. But I don't know. Yeah, so I would love to see the play.
Yeah.
I would like to see Rue and Jules talk as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
or face Elliot even, just all of them.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
good face to face. But I feel like that may be something for the finale as well.
Yeah.
As far as Lori, I feel like I feel like that situation is gonna be one of those things that it was such a significant part of this season, even though it was small, like last episode. But I feel like it's so significant into Rue's journey right now that I feel like they may wait until she's like on the right path, and then boom, Lori's back,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
like
can see
maybe
that.
Yeah.
introduces her back. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's a way to, I don't know, drag it out in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So I could see them like waiting until next season to bring
To
her back.
addressing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
We'll see. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Lori and with the Faye's boyfriend being cooperating with the police, maybe he tied Lori into the mix too, get a drug dealer off the streets, finding a mouse's killer and killing two birds with one stone type. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think Faye's boyfriend's that smart to
No, I don't think he is either.
but we'll see. But listen, this was a Super Bowl-ish type of episode in regards to, again, we talked about the Nate and Maddie scene. We do have our gripes with Kat, and it's unfortunate what's going on with that character. But, we got 2 episodes left to see how things shake up. But I really, really had a fantastic time with Amanda and Jay tonight. And we'll be talking in the coming weeks to see how you all feel about how things shape up. But tossing it to you, Amanda, outroing everything out again. It's always a pleasure. We're getting back into our Marvel DC, Amanda. We're looking strong this year with Black Adam and Batman in a couple weeks. So
Yeah.
DC's looking good. But Amanda, why don't you let the fine folks know the 19 other things you have lined up, the 20 reviews you got on your website coming, and the amazing content you have for people out there.
Well, this was a blast. I feel like the show just takes so much off of our life every single time we watch it on Sundays. This is a great conversation. You guys are both amazing. You guys can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can check out my website, candidxcinema.com. All my reviews are up there. Tomorrow, guys, is Valentine's Day. So I figured I would spread some love and share my top 10 rom-coms of all time. That video will be up tomorrow morning. And I'm excited for the next 2 episodes of Euphoria.
I hope Hitch is on that list, Amanda, because Hitch is one of my all-time
I
favorites.
gotta revise it. No, I'm joking.
Well, you guys hear it here. Check out Amanda. Her links are in the bio. She is so great at her reviews and her takes, and just a great person overall. So, Amanda, appreciate you. And Jay, again, this is my first time getting the chance to meet you. Again, I'm such a big fan of your content, and so glad we have you on tonight. And hopefully we can do more collabs in the future. But in the meantime, why don't you let the people at home know where you're at and what's next for Jay Meets World?
Yeah, I had a great time tonight. Thanks for having me. I love talking about Euphoria and getting other perspectives. But you can watch other reactions by me over on YouTube at Jay Meets World. And then come talk to me on Twitter at Jay Meets World with 3 E's.
Definitely do it. You hear it? Do it, guys. Do it. She's incredible, and her links are in the bio. So for myself, Amanda, and Jay, you all have been awesome. Again, make sure before you leave, liking the video, sharing it, and then those watching the replay, leave your thoughts on the episode in the comment section, and we will see you all next week. Happy Valentine's Day to you all out there. Show some love to your close ones, your family and friends, and show some love to yourself too, because that goes a long way as well. So with that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.